welcome to the Wise Take DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined once again by one of Wise Take's finest DFS analysts, Mr. KamG333. Triple threes. You can find him on Twitter at KamG DFS, because if you go to KamG333s, it's like it's not him. It's not him. It's not. There is a Twitter account that exists, but it's not him. Niggas dang. What's up, bro? How you doing today?
Doing well. Just went like full lock button on the two pitchers in the cheat sheet today, and they both put up 25 plus so far. So hopefully some of these bats in the late game can take it home for me. I'm looking pretty good. So I got the double screens going right now. I got Boston, Seattle, and New York, and Arizona going. Yes. I'll probably be looking at that when I'm not talking.
Yes.
If the fucking Mets start hitting bombs, dude, it's gonna get up.
It's gonna get wild around here. Cam's gonna get wild. You see a whole different side of Cam. I hope it happens, because I've been trying to tell everybody that Cam's got this there's nothing like sweating with Cam. So hopefully they start to do some stuff.
Dude. It's all dependent on your fucking Mets.
Yeah. Yes, it does. It does. And I hate that hasn't been a good thing this year. So
no, not at all.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I'm relying on a team that's batting like $130
over the entire month of May.
That's tough, but
that's hilarious. But it's still early. The Mo got it started, and they have 50% in the Mo. Right?
Yeah.
Out of 150 lineups, 50% in the Mo. There you go.
Ooh, Dominic Smith, a nice little liner to the right field.
See, Nation? You see what I'm saying? Did you hear the initial? That was just a preview. Did you hear the initial ooh? The excitement that just went through that man's veins. It was a hit, and just a jolt of excitement just hit him. And then he tried to play it cool, because he's on camera right now. It's like, oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, line drive.
I wanted to stand up and just start clapping.
That's what I'm saying.
For a single.
He's gonna get up not in my house. Cam's one of those kind of people, I'm telling you. He's one of those kind of people, I'm telling you.
Oh,
he gets pumped. When I saw that, did you see that video of Jake Lamb when his brother won the game?
Yep.
That. Yep. I picture you when he was doing that.
Dude, that was literally me. That was me week 1 of NFL when it was the first game of the year. It was Thursday Night Football, Texans versus the Bengals in Cincinnati. And Deshaun Watson ran that 56-yarder in right before half. That was me. I'm not kidding. I was by myself in my apartment, doing that by myself. It was insane. But it was pretty cool, because he was min price and 8% on, so I was fucking jacked.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we get some good luck. Hopefully some stuff goes down so the nation can see what I'm talking about. But anyway. We got 15 games to break down in between innings for you. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. Speaking of the Mets, we got Matt Harvey going for the Cincinnati Reds, visiting Chad Kuhl of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Total here is 9. Pittsburgh minus 143 at home. 79 degrees, 39% humidity, and 5 mile per hour winds blowing out to center field. What do you got, Cam?
Yeah, so we all know Harvey struggles with lefties. So I think you can take a look at the lefties here. I don't know if I would get a full stack here against Harvey. He's actually been pretty, decent for Matt Harvey's standards since he's come over to Cincinnati here. So the change of scenery seems to have changed him a little bit. He hasn't gotten completely blown up. I guess his last start he did 3 home runs, but still went 6 innings. 4 hits, 3 home runs. That's funny. But yeah, I don't know. The Pirates are just a lineup where I don't know if I want to take just a bunch of dudes from them. So I think you could take maybe a Colin Moran, Polanco, Josh Bell, or Corey Dickerson. Except Corey Dickerson, I just was watching the Pirates broadcast for some reason last night, and they were saying that he's like choking up on the bat or something and like trying to make more contact in exchange for less power, which kind of sucks. So I don't know if safe.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good point about him because if you remember, like the Rays last year, that was their whole team motto was just the reason they were striking out so much is because like their team motto was to swing as hard as you can. That was like their philosophy. And if you
Yeah.
look at Corey Dickerson's strikeout rate, it is pretty low. Like for him, it is pretty low. So
Yeah.
obviously the Pirates have a different type of motto. Their motto must be "Don't strike out." You know what I mean? Like
Right.
because so it makes a lot of sense. That's a really good point.
Yeah, so I don't know if I would go there. I'd have to look into some of his like advanced batted ball numbers to see if that kind of correlates with what they were talking about. But if I'm going to pull the trigger on a lefty, I definitely want a guy who's swinging for the fences against Harvey because we know he gives up the homers and that's where the upside is. So I could see it maybe, but it's probably not my favorite spot, honestly, on a 15-game slate. I think you'll be able to find better spots. On the other hand, Chad Kuhl going up against Cincinnati Reds. This is a good spot as well for the lefties here against the Reds. But I don't know, like bigger ballpark decrease for the Reds here. So I don't know. I think you could look at like Scooter Gennett still and like Joey Votto. But I don't know if I would get crazy with the Reds either here, mostly one-offs, and I don't think I can play either of these pitchers. I know I'm already playing I already know who I'm playing tomorrow for one of my pitchers, so I just got to find a SP2 as we go through this.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, man. Like, I'm not going to pitch Matt Harvey, even though he's kind of tempting at 4.8, just because, like you said, he's been pitching well. Like, at these kind of prices, if you look at his game logs on DraftKings, you'll take 15s, 13s, and even all that good stuff at 4.8, But I'm not going to do it against the Pirates. I really don't like picking on them. I do think that I'm not really interested in a stack either, so I'd probably, I can see maybe a mini stack, like a 2v2 or, some one-offs, like Colin Moran is intriguing. I don't think, what's his name's going to play, Austin Meadows, but if you were to play, I would like him. But then, I'm with you though. You don't want to marry this team on a 15-game slate, right? Like I know it's a high total, but it's Pittsburgh and Cincinnati's been super disappointing like for a while now. I mean, you just keep expecting that big blow up spot like last year, and it just never happens. It just never really happens. Like they just don't do it. Scott Schebler's hitting a lot of balls on the ground. It's like Either way, I still think one-offs are fine. I'm with you. Not really a situation where I want to stack. Not really a situation where I want either pitcher either. Schebler.
And Kuhl's been pretty decent this year, too.
Yeah, he definitely has. Looked a lot better this year. But yeah, I think one-offs from both sides are acceptable. Schebler, you want some Votto or Jeanette as a mini stack, that's fine too. But for the most part, I'm hoping on a 15-game slate we find something else. It's like one of the only benefits to a 15-game slate is that like you have options usually. So hopefully we find some. Next game, Jose Urena of the Miami Marlins visiting Kevin Gausman of the Baltimore Orioles. Total here is 9. Baltimore minus 145 at home. I cannot believe they're that much of a favorite over anybody right now, even with Gausman on the mound. 77 degrees, 44% humidity. What you got here?
Dude, Haniger just hit one to the warning track. That would have been huge. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of looking at this right now. Urena's like bad versus lefties. Average versus righties. Doesn't have a whole lot of strikeout stuff as well, and this isn't a good ballpark for him to be pitching in. Obviously, going from Miami to Baltimore, I would like this. I actually would consider him, I think, if he was in Miami here, but just like being on the road, I don't know if I like want to go there, but I actually don't like hate him in this spot, just with how bad these Orioles have been, right? And just the fact that you look at this lineup and there's really going to be no one that he has to worry about from the left side. I mean, Jace Peterson, Chris Davis, and Chance Sisco are the 3 lefties projected in the lineup tomorrow, and that's not really concerning for me. And then against righties, Urena's a guy, 24% strikeout percentage, 3.66 xFIP. That's pretty solid there for a guy who's 6'3" in a really good matchup against Baltimore, who's been just terrible this year. But digging into it, some of the batted ball statistics makes you take a step back. 45% hard contact versus lefties, 42% hard contact versus righties in Camden yards. That's a tough spot to click on there. I think we'll be able to find a better spot, but I could see where he has a decent game. It's just very risky in this ballpark. But I can't take any of these Baltimore bats either outside of maybe like Machado or Adam Jones, really, for me. On the other side, Gossman, he's got the second highest swinging strike rate in 2018 of any of the pitchers going tomorrow, behind James Paxton. 8-5 at home. Not a great ballpark. Wish it was in Miami. And we've seen Miami multiple times just kind of make contact and not really do anything. So it's a plus that they don't do anything, but it almost takes away some of his strikeout upside. I think I'm going to have to consider him, though, on the slate tomorrow at 8-5 with some of his plate discipline statistics and everything. So I think he'll make the short list going up against Miami. Just don't love the ballpark and kind of like the environment for him.
Yeah, man, I wish he was a little bit cheaper. I don't like paying this kind of price, but he's having a good season. He is, and he's kind of earned that price for this matchup, which everybody kind of gets a little priced up for their matchup against Miami. I'm with you, though. I'm not a fan of the park, but like I said, I'm very surprised to see that Baltimore is this much of a favorite over anybody. In my opinion, the Baltimore offense has been worse than Miami's offense as of late, obviously. But here they are, minus 145. I'm with you, man. Like, one of the reasons I'm so shocked is because Urena's not that bad of a pitcher. Like, he's not great, but he's not really not bad. So when I look at him against Baltimore at 6'3", my initial instinct is like, oh wow, that's a great SP2 option in tournaments. And then you see the line, and you're like, whoa, like do they really expect that with it's that high of a total, and to see Baltimore favored by that much? It's like, do they really think Baltimore's offense is just going to wake up? Like, projected for 5 runs, really?
Right. How many times have you seen this year where they're projected for 5 runs and they just score 1 run?
I figured they wouldn't do that anymore. I figured they would just we wouldn't see that anymore. But here it is. And so, I think at 6'3", I do have some interest in Urena, at least on a first look. I mean, again, he's a guy I typically have to pitch at home in his big ballpark. You make a good point, but I mean, it's Baltimore, man. Yeah. Let's do it. Next up,
I think
no, you're right.
I think it's interesting too. Like maybe a righty here for Miami, moving from the Marlins big ballpark to Camden Yards. Gossman's a guy so far this year. He's had somewhat reverse splits. He is a ground ball pitcher, but has been giving up 37% hard contact to right-handed bats. Home run per 9 up as well. I could see that coming down, but at the same time, in this ballpark, it is what it is. I like to target some of these Miami power bats when they move into extreme hitters ballpark, just because they play in a pitcher's ballpark. So I wouldn't be shocked if Brian Anderson or Lewis Brinson or one of those guys, or JT Realmuto goes deep tomorrow in one of these in this ballpark. Yeah. So just wanted to mention that. That's something I also look at.
I like it. I do. Nathan Eovaldi of the Tampa Bay Rays visiting. Here he comes. Johnny L's. Loisigo? I don't know. It might be Italian. We might need Paulie for that one. But you get the drill. Joey L's is what we're calling him tonight of Paulie D's New York Yankees. Total here is 9. Yankees minus 172 at home. We've got 73 degrees, 47% humidity in the Bronx. What do you got?
So I'll let you talk about this kid because you seem to do a better job at being able to look up the young guys and stuff, because I guess I'm challenged in that way because I can't find them on Fangraphs ever.
The fact that they're your peers and you're just like, nope, I'm better than you. We're enemies.
Like the same age as me.
It's a generational thing. Like, he can't be a pro player.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It makes me feel terrible about it. So I just kind of ignored him. So I'm just not going to even talk about him. Definitely think you can play the Yankees here, though. In this slate, I think I like some of these guys lower in the order actually. So I don't hate like Hicks, Andujar, and Torres. Those are actually kind of like my favorite Yankees. Definitely, you see like half the ownership you do, and like those big guys. Come on, baby, get out! Fuck yeah! Conforto, fucking dong, baby. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Yeah, I think you can see it where, yeah, play 7, 8, and 9. I'm probably not going to get there. I think you can play Judge, though. He's a reverse splits guy. ISO a lot higher versus righties than lefties. So, yeah, I would go there. You can talk about this Yankees guy. I'm going to celebrate a little bit.
I'm going to celebrate a little bit.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. 50% to Mo, 50% Conforto, right?
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
So, yeah, just from what I looked up on FanGraphs of this kid, it looks like he's got some blow-up potential. He never pitched past AA. That's the highest level he's pitched in. But he also has some high strikeout potential. Looks like most of the games, at most, he's only gone 5 innings at most in any one of his starts in the minors this year. But he racked up as many as 9 strikeouts in those 5 innings. So I'm seeing a lot of 9s, 7s, 8s. But there were a couple games, like for instance, his most recent outing against, it looks like the Mets AA team. He had only pitched 2 innings, had 4 earned runs, and 4 strikeouts. So the strikeout's still there. He seems to be a very high strikeout pitcher, but he also seems to really have some blow-up potential, and he's never pitched above AA. That's a little concerning. Of course, what he does have in his favor is matchup. He's got a pretty good matchup here with the Rays. So, that's what I know. Aside from that, well, the browser on my laptop just froze, so I can't even see. As far as Evaldi, I mean, a little bit of revenge, maybe, right? Didn't you switch to the Yankees?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. As far as I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, this guy throws a lot of fastballs. Am I right? And last time I checked, the Yankees are pretty damn good against the fastball. So,
yeah, right.
So in this ballpark, I think that the Yankees are definitely playable. I like it, man. I do. And the Rays are interesting. I would just hope that on a 15-game slate that we wouldn't have to play them. Like the Rays are really only a team. Like it was a 4-game slate today, and I don't think any of us really still like them. Like maybe a couple guys, but yeah, I don't know. I'd rather not. Moving over, we've got Gio Gonzalez of the Washington Nationals visiting Aaron Sanchez of those Toronto Blue Jays. Total here is 9. Washington minus 137. And I don't have the weather just yet because, like I said, my laptop's got to reset. So do your thing, man.
Yeah, Devers just doubled, and he's on my highest scoring lineup right now too. This is electric. Yeah, so I don't hate like Gio here in this spot at 8-8. It's a pretty good price as well. Has pretty good history versus the Blue Jays. I don't know. I kind of like the spot. I feel like based off, I'm kind of going on the top of my head here. I'm looking it up as I speak, but I feel like the Blue Jays have kind of been struggling versus left-handed pitching. So I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit. Let me pull it up here. But I don't hate the spot for Gio. I'm not a big Gio guy, but like at 8-8, I like that price for him. And I don't know. I don't think I can pair him with the guy that I'm going to want to pair him, though. And I don't know. Like, he's okay, but he probably won't make my lineups. But I wouldn't, like, hate it if someone rostered him. Aaron Sanchez going up against the Nationals here. I don't, like, love Sanchez, but I also don't hate him. Like, I feel like he has potential to always pitch good games, but he can get blown up. A lot of his advanced numbers, though, and like expected numbers kind of indicate that he might struggle versus left-handed hitters, I believe. I think that's been a thing the last couple games as well. So I think you can look at these Nationals. Harper, Daniel Murphy's coming back off the DL. I'll have to look into him a little bit. I'm not sure if he's going to need some time to kind of get going if he had like any rehab bats or anything like that. But Harper's definitely in play. Matt Adams and then Juan Soto as well. That kid's good. And Eaton's back as well. So I think the lefties for the Nationals are definitely in play tomorrow going up against Sanchez. And don't hate Gio, but I just don't know if I'm going to get there at 8.8. It's kind of an awkward price. If he was a little cheaper, I could see myself going there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that.
Yeah, man, I think Gio at 8.8 seems like, okay, well, we can take a look at that, but I'm with you. I'm just not a Gio guy. It takes a lot for me to play him, and on a 15-game slate, I don't know. I don't think there's like a ton of great pitching options, but I think there's enough to where I can navigate around him and find somebody else that has similar upside. And that's the problem with Gio to me, is like a ceiling thing. I think that's what it is. Like he doesn't have the greatest ceiling. But
he's not flashy too. Like I like rostering guys who have like good stuff and like are flashy. Yeah. And like he's just kind of bland. He's very bland.
He's very vanilla. So don't think I actually end up pitching Gio, though I'll agree. I think he's a decent pitcher. I think the only Blue Jays I would really look at here is probably Teoscar Hernandez. He's like the only one, because he's obviously been good against lefties. But the rest of these guys, not so much. I prefer them. Even like Smoke, I prefer against righties. It's just not crazy about it. And I will say the Nationals, man, like they it might take them a little while to click, but once they do, they're going to have one of the best offenses out there. Like this lineup is crazy. I mean, Adam Eaton, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Rendon, Murphy, Adams, Soto, and then Defoe, and they don't have a catcher, but who cares? Like they're going to wreak havoc on right-handed pitchers. Like there's just so many lefties, powerful lefties, and like you said, Aaron Sanchez, a guy who traditionally was reverse splitsy back when he was good. Ever since he's been bad, he's been giving it up to lefties. So I think I'm going to like the Nationals offense. I'm just worried that it might take them a little while to get going. Because even against the Yankees, against Sonny Gray, like only Soto had a monster game. Like Adams had a good game, but like Soto's the only one. Like the rest of those guys didn't do all that much. So it's only a matter of time before they get going. So I might have to play the Nationals every day until they do, because I don't want to miss that, man. It's going to be glorious when it happens.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Next up, Kyle Gibson of the Minnesota Twins visiting Corey Kluber of the Cleveland Indians. Total here is 7.5. Cleveland minus 230 at home. 76 degrees, 40% humidity out in Cleveland. What you got?
Yeah, so Kluber's 13.6 on DraftKings. That's super expensive. But in my opinion, he's probably like one of the safest pitchers on the board tomorrow. So I think he's worth his price. I think in cash, I would probably just lock him in and kind of just ride him. I mean, if you look at his game logs, 31, 24, 35, 27, 31, just been really dominant, not giving up really any damage at all. And just pitching at home makes me feel even better about him. And then he's dominated this Twins team. These guys that he's going to be going up against tomorrow, 148 batting average, and 140 plate appearances, 31% strikeout rate. Or those guys are striking out against him 31% of the time. It's just a matter of at 13.6, it's really hard to play him. You're definitely going to have some value bats that you're going to have to be pretty confident in. But he's definitely really safe and has probably the highest floor on the slate, in my opinion. Kyle Gibson going up against the Indians. The Indians at home, I don't want to attack him. Gibson is a guy who has the third highest swing strike rate on the slate. There could be potential there for him to kind of do well, but Indians at home, a lot of these lefties I could have some appeal with. E5 has hit him really well. Yan Gomes, Kipnis, Brantley, Lindor, Jose Ramirez, they've all hit him really well. Even Chisenhall. So I think this is a really bad spot for Kyle Gibson. And the Indians have been struggling a little bit the past week or so, but I could definitely see them getting back on track here. In Cleveland, going back home against a pitcher that they've seen a lot and have had success against. So 1 through 5 for me, I think, is well in play for Cleveland.
Yeah, man. It's well noted across the nation, the Wise Take Nation, that is, that the Indians are a home team. They like to hit at home. They have significant home and road splits. They're back home against Kyle Gibson, like you said, a man they've seen many times before. So I do have interest here in the Indians now that they've returned. As far as Corey Kluber, man, 13-6, obviously in cash games, I think he's an easy decision. But when considering tournaments and salaries and point per dollar, all that kind of shit, paying 13-6 for, and like, don't get me wrong, Kluber has been good. His xFIP is phenomenal. xFIP well under 3. Like, he's doing extremely well. But his swinging strike rate is like 10.7%, and his Ks are down a little bit for him. So that kind of stuff against the Twins, a team that doesn't really strike out a ton against righties as is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little skeptical right now. Like, I got to see who else is out there. But right now, my first instinct is I don't really want to pay 13-6 for Kluber in a tournament against the Twins.
No. Yeah, I think he's priced out in terms of tournament. Yeah. But in cash, I could definitely
the go-to.
Think he's
definitely the go-to.
But tournaments for me, he's just priced out at that price. On a 15-game slate, like, you should be able to find someone else that can. If you're doing it right, you should be able to find someone else that can get you that price. I feel like the lazy way to do it would just be to click on him and go from there, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that.
Agreed. But the Indian stack definitely in play. Clayton Richard, the lefty from the San Diego Padres, visiting Brandon McCarthy of the Atlanta Braves. Total here is 8.5, Atlanta minus 138 at home. 86 degrees, 60% humidity. Another great hitting environment down in Atlanta, although it really hasn't amounted to anything over the last week.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So Brandon McCarthy is a guy that I don't really ever take bats against. It's just something I don't do. Just the way, like, the profile of him as a pitcher, just like a ground ball guy, somewhat soft contact, etc. So I'm not going to have any interest in these Padres bats. We saw what Anibal Sanchez did against them today. I think that could make a case for McCarthy at 5'9". I'll have to see some other like punt SP2s, I guess. McCarthy does have some games that he can like get into the 20s. It's not like a high probability or anything, but it definitely increases the chance of it happening when you're matched up against the Padres here. So I think he would be a guy that would make the short list, just kind of going through it at first look. And I'll have to look into him a little bit more tomorrow. On the other side here, the Braves have been getting a little bit hotter as this week's gone on. Clayton Richard pitched pretty well against them last time, I think, but that was in San Diego, a little bit different environment. I think that was also a scenario where they were traveling from Tampa across the country to San Diego, so that was another factor. Now Atlanta's back home. Definitely a different spot here for them. So I think this is kind of a reversed game from how it played out last time. So I could see like taking some of these Atlanta bats, and I think they're going to start getting going soon here. So don't hate like Albies. Freeman, lefty on lefty, but he's been pretty hot. Markakis has hit lefties, but I do really like Tyler Flowers in this spot. 3-1 is too cheap for him. How hard he hits the ball has been really good against lefties. And he's okay. That's a different guy that I'm thinking about. But yeah, I like Tyler Flowers tomorrow at 3. I thought he had good BVP against him, but it must have been a different guy. So yeah. I like Flowers, and don't hate the Braves, but I doubt they're like a top priority for me tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go some more, so I'll be right back.
Yeah, I think Clayton Richards is the guy I really don't like to pick on. The McCarthy at 5'9", just because it's the Padres, it's worth consideration. We did see what Anibal Sanchez did to him today. With that said, there are a good amount of lefties here. I don't mind if you wanted to go a contrarian Padres stack. It's another situation where I would hope I don't have to, just because there's so many games. I just don't see how I would land on the Padres of all these teams. But it's a great hitting environment. Unfortunately, it may be another waste of a good hitting environment. And, it's just how it is. But I do think the Braves, this game in general is probably more of a cross-off for me. There's just not a ton I like. Clayton Richards doesn't get beat up all that much. Well, actually, I don't. You know what? I don't mind Tyler Flowers as well at 3-1. I don't mind him. The Braves are pretty good against lefties. It's just Clayton Richards, just one of those guys, man. That it'd be long.
Doesn't he have like a fly ball percentage of like 8%?
Yeah, it's something ridiculous, man. He gets so many ground balls. Like, I don't know.
So it's like, that's not a guy you're going to want to target on a 15-game slate. I think the Padres bullpen's pretty decent as well. If the game's close, they can roll out some good guys.
Surprisingly, yes. Surprisingly, it is. I learned that the hard way when I took the Cardinals against them in a bullpen game. I could not believe the arms that were coming out of that thing, man. They had a sidearmer, dude. Like, the Cardinals just looked horrible against these guys. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think we both had Cardinals that day, and you texted me, and you're like, This sidearm dude is just mowing them down, making.
They looked horrible. I'm like, so bad.
Oh, I texted you back, and I was like, oh, I didn't know the starter was sidearm. What the hell? I wish I would have known that. And you were like, he's not sidearm. They just did shit against him.
They just sucked against him, and then this next guy came in and continued to shut them down.
Yep, exactly.
Chad Bettis of the Colorado Rockies visiting Yohander Mendez of the Texas Rangers. Total here is 11. Texas plus 100 at home. Cam, before I flip it over to you, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this Yohander guy.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, so this season he had 10 starts in AAA. So he's got a 7K per 9. He's got a 4 walk per 9. He's got a 1.75 home run per 9. 41.4% ground ball rate. His ERA currently is 5.26. His FIP is 6.17, and his XFIP is 5.2. I don't think this guy is very good. I don't know. It may be a bold statement there, but those numbers don't sound so good.
Thanks for the background information. That was nice.
You like that? So he did come in. He did come in once in relief in the majors. So I guess he had a relief appearance. He pitched 2/3 of an inning. He didn't give up any home runs or whatever, but just I don't know, like, how his xFIP could be 7.94 when I don't know. I guess so. He didn't give up any runs or anything. Like, do they just think he's that bad? Anyway, I don't think he's very good.
He must have just been giving up like fly balls, just hard hit fly balls or something, right? Two people.
Who knows? But it's 95 degrees, 36% humidity out in Arlington, 13 mile per hour winds blowing in from center, so that a wind tunnel effect thing. What do you got, man?
Yeah. 95 degrees. What you just said about that guy makes me want to play Rockies tomorrow. They're typically worse outside of Coors, obviously, for the reasons I don't have to explain to you. But yeah, I think they're in a really good spot tomorrow against this guy. From everything that you just told me, I think a lot of guys are well in play here. LeMahieu, Arenado, and Story are probably the main guys I'm looking at, but I think you can take Ian Desmond, Iannetta at catcher, and don't even hate like a Blackman lefty on lefty or a Cargo lefty on lefty as well. I'm guessing they'll probably get to this guy if the stack goes right, and then they'll be going to the bullpen. So, yeah, I think this is a good spot for them, and I'll just have to look into this guy maybe a little bit more, but based off of what you're telling me, I don't even know if I'll have to. On the other hand, Bettis going up against the Rangers. I do like the Rangers at home. Really good hitting environment here as well. I do like Sin-Chu Chu, Mazzara. I do really like Profar. He's the guy that I kind of like to play a lot. And those would be the three main guys I would look at. And Beltre as well. And Gallo too. Yeah, I just like this game all just stack the bats. It's obviously implied run total, good environment, bad pitchers, good hitters. It's just a matter of like ownership, game theory, and stuff like that tomorrow. And if you can find a spot that you feel is equally as good, and like a probability of scoring just as many runs and fantasy points, if you want to fade it. Yeah, so that's probably all I got on that one.
Oh yeah, man. I think this is like if I was gonna build one lineup tomorrow, and I had to do it right now, I without even looking at the rest of the games, this would be the game stack. This is very, very simple. I mean, you got a lefty on the hill for the Rangers. Did I mention he was lefty? I did, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You knew. You knew.
I don't think you mentioned that, but I could figure that one out by myself. Yeah. I appreciate all the other information, but I got that one.
There are some things Cam can find on his own, so credit to Cam.
There's these cool like letters that they have next to the dude's name, so I got that one.
That's awesome, man. That's all. I'm glad you're starting to figure life out. You know.
You proud of me?
Man. I am. I gotta say, and I'm sure Joe would be too, man. Really do. I think Joe.
Oh
would
yeah.
Be so proud. But
if he's watching, he'll probably text me. Good job.
I can give you a pat on the back, the proverbial, the digital pat on the back, which is Twitter. Yeah, seems like a great spot for the Rockies. Absolutely, for the Rangers too against Bettis. I got no problems attacking him. I think the Rangers are starting to heat up a little bit. They're not striking out anymore. That's the main thing. Even with Maeda, we saw Maeda played against them, and while they didn't blow Maeda up, Maeda is a pretty good pitcher. He couldn't strike him out. It just wasn't happening. So I think the Rangers and the Rockies are both in play. I think Arenado's price, this is the cheapest we've seen him in a while. He's under $5K on DraftKings. I like that. We've been paying like $5.4 for the dude. LeMahieu, this could be a pretty good spot for him to get going. Trevor Story, obviously way better against lefties. Ian Desmond, way better against lefties. Iannetta, I like it, man. I like both sides. We can always take Chu and Mazzara. Profar's been heating up a little bit, so I'm with it, man. I like it. Moving on, we've got Mike Fiers of the Detroit Tigers visiting Ronaldo Lopez of the Chicago White Sox. Total here is 8.5. Chicago minus 135 at home, 83 degrees, 57% humidity. What you got?
I've heard you say it so many times after like shows. Yeah, so I think it's interesting here. Like Fiers has been a guy that people have liked to pick on the last couple of weeks, and he's actually had pretty good outings. I think what you see from him is going to make you want to attack him as well, but there's something to be said. Like, I've started to see some of these like veteran guys maybe be less stubborn and kind of try and pitch to what they're good at now instead of trying to be like back in their old like ways. We've seen James Shield have good outings. Anibal Sanchez is a good example as well. Oh my God, that was ugly. So maybe Fiers would be a scenario as well here. Going up against the White Sox, this is clearly a really good matchup. They don't really have many guys on their team that have seen him all that much. Looks like Tim Anderson is about the only guy and Jose Abreu are the only two that have really seen him that much. Hit him decent, but not a large enough sample for me to look at. 7.3 is a little too expensive for Fiers for me. But with that being said, like I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out and gets another 20. Just like slate dependent, like 15 games, I just don't really want to pay 7.3 for Fiers in this ballpark. I think it's a little risky with just who he is, but who knows? He could go for 20 again tomorrow. On the other hand, like Lopez, I don't know. Like I like him, and I think he has upside in the right spot, but I don't know if I like want to go there. I think he's gonna make the short list, and I'll have to look into him a little bit more tomorrow. Like he can just he could ruin your day tomorrow, or he could like make your day. He's has 35 point upside. but at the same time, he has a negative 10-point floor. So definitely risky. I like him, but I just don't know if I want to go there. Has seemed to pitch decent against Detroit. Leonis Martin is the only guy that I would really be all that worried about just because I like him as a hitter. Castellanos has been hitting the ball really hard as well. But after those two guys, I don't have a whole ton to worry about. So it makes me somewhat like Lopez at 5'9". That's a good price. I compare him with an SP1, so I'll have to look into it a little bit more. I think it's a spot where you could take a couple bats as well. And it's probably a game I'm going to have to look into a little bit harder to kind of dwindle down some of the options.
Yeah, for me, this game is kind of like a cross-off in general. This is another situation where I don't really want too much. Ronaldo Lopez, I think the price is good for him, is pretty decent. But I just when you look at his numbers, man, he's got so much aggression coming. He's got a 2.38 BABIP. He's showing a 3.26 ERA with a 5.45 xFIP. It's like there's just too much that screams this guy's not good. But he keeps escaping, similar to Cook, whatever the hell his name is. Like all those guys that have the super high xFIPs that aren't delivering. But Detroit, especially without Miggy, they just don't look good right now. Like Lance Lynn destroyed these dudes today. And Lance Lynn always does well against the Tigers, but still, they just look bad. Leonis Martin's the only bat I'd be interested in. And Fires, I think he's an option. But I'm just not a Fires guy, not at 7.3. Like when he's in the sixes, I can take a chance. At 7.3, It just feels too expensive. Especially when the SP1 is supposedly Kluber. It's like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think so. So, yeah, doesn't do it for me. Jake Arrieta of the Philadelphia Phillies visiting Brent Suter, the lefty from KamG333's Milwaukee Brew Crew. Total here sits at 8.5. Milwaukee minus 130 at home. 77 degrees, 65% humidity. It's a nice day in Milwaukee. Do you think I'll open the roof?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, roof status.
Friday.
What you got?
Open up. Yeah. I don't hate Suter. I mean, if you look at his game logs, he's really consistent. At 6'5", I'll take 16 to 20 some for my pitcher. So I don't mind him. He's a guy who kind of gets hitters off via kind of deception, kind of a weird ish delivery, throws really slow, kind of is just a different look than a lot of other pitchers in the MLB, which is somewhat concerning because I believe his last outing was against these Phillies, where he had an okay game. But I'm really worried about some of these guys like Hoskins here, Carlos Santana, Aaron Altherr. Those would be the three guys I'm looking at to target Suter against. But I think Suter's somewhat in play. I just don't really want to pitch him tomorrow in Miller Park. Hoskins starting to get going again, and Altherr versus lefties has been pretty good as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 16, but I don't know if it's at that ballpark. It's a risk I want to necessarily take. And then Arrieta, I only really pitch Arrieta at home. He has really extreme home road splits, and Miller Park is not a good spot for him. But the way he pitches, it makes it tough to kind of target bats against him. I think you could take Jonathan VR. I like the steal upside with him, and maybe some of these big power bats for the Brewers, like Thames, Shaw, Aguiar. But outside of that, I don't know. I don't love attacking Arrieta.
Didn't your Brewers destroy Arrieta recently? Yeah, they did.
Okay, kind of, but not
one
really.
One run, but 4 earned runs. So kind of, but not really. Yeah.
And the one home run was against VR, and the other 3 runs there were 2 outs with the bases loaded, and they pulled them, and then G-Man Choi hit a grand slam off the reliever.
Yes.
So I don't know. He could have easily pitched to the G-Man Choi and got him to ground out, and would have had 1 earned run with however many innings he pitched.
It's true. I think he only went 5. But yeah, I don't think I'm interested in Jake Arrieta for the same reasons that you said. On the road, small ballpark, it's Milwaukee, a lot of strong lefties. Just don't think I want to. Suter, I did pitch him against Philly, but I think he was a little bit cheaper that day. I'm not a fan of the price increase, although I do like to attack Philly. They strike out so much. But right now, Rhys Hoskins seems pretty hot. Since coming back from the DL, he's looked pretty good. And don't think I want to pick on him. So I think some of these Philly bats are okay. I probably wouldn't do much more than a one-off from the Brewers just because Arrieta is such a high ground ball rate. But yeah, another game where I'm kind of like, not a ton I like. Rhys Hoskins I do like, though. Next up, Charlie Morton of the Houston Astros visiting Jake Junis of the Kansas City Royals. Total here is 9. Kansas City plus 185. Home underdogs, 92 degrees. 47% humidity, and we got 13-mile-per-hour winds projected to blow out to left field. We'll see if that holds up. What do you got?
Yeah, I only really like pitching Morton on or at home in Houston, and just like his form recently has been really bad. That last outing against Texas, I believe that was his last outing. He looked awful. He walked a bunch of guys. He hit a bunch of guys. It was just a really terrible outing for him. And then his last outing as well versus Boston was not good. We've seen his strikeout stuff actually dwindle as well. He had 10 versus New York, but the last 5 games, 8, 5, 10, 7, and 4. And you're kind of paying for, at 12-1, you're kind of paying for that guy that's going to go out there and get you 8 to 13. And he just hasn't really been doing that recently. Obviously, a pretty good matchup here against Kansas City, but it is going to be 92 degrees. Wind is blowing out to left, and just with the form that Morton's been in, I just can't go there tomorrow with some of these other guys in the price range. He's just way too expensive for me. So I'm going to pass on him. Junis, no way. I think you can definitely take some of these Houston bats. Evan Gattis has been on fire, so I think he's definitely in play. You can look at Bregman, Altuve, Correa, Yuli Gurriel has been hot as well. So yeah, I like Houston bats going up against Junis, fly ball guy, hot, winds blowing out. So I think Houston's definitely in play. And no Morton for me, but not really a whole lot of Royals for me as well, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't want to pay 12-1 for Morton against a team that doesn't strike out on the road where he struggled, and I don't really want a ton of Royals because Houston's got a really good bullpen anyway. Jake Junis, I think, is a decent pitcher, but this is obviously not the spot for his type. I do think you can get the Astros at some fairly low ownership, and especially if that wind's going to keep blowing out. Like the best players on Houston are right-handed, so if the wind does blow out to left field and you got a guy like Jake Junis who doesn't have a ton of strikeout upside up there, it could be a nice little contrarian stack. And like it's an example of like a good contrarian stack because even though it's a bad ballpark, yada yada, it's a good team. And I really don't think a ton of people are going to come here. Number one, because the Astros are expensive, and number two, because it's a bad ballpark and Junis is a guy that people like to pitch. So I don't think people are going to pitch Junis. I think they know better than that, but I do think that they may lay off the Astros, and the Astros, that could be a mistake, man, because they look like they're starting to heat up, and we've been waiting for them to heat up all season. So I like the Astros, man. 5.4 projected run total. Yuzz them. John Lester of the Chicago Cubs visiting Michael Wacha of the St. Louis Cardinals. Total here is 8. St. Louis plus 100 at home, 91 degrees, 53% humidity out in St. Louis. Hot and humid in St. Louis. What you got?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna pick on Lester. Like you can maybe take a bat or two for St. Louis if you want to get contrarian with like some of these guys who hit lefties pretty good, like Jericho. Yeah, or like yeah, you could get Johnny Freaky or something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not gonna do it. Good hitting conditions though in St. Louis, but I don't know. I don't love it. On the other side here, like Michael Wacha has been really good this year, but I just like refuse to believe that he's that good. I think he's gonna have like an outing pretty soon where he doesn't do well. If you look at his game logs, like, he's been really good this year, and I just think that some regression is going to come where he just has a bad outing. He's not going to be perfect, and he's pitched really well this year, and I just think he's not going to pitch well in one of these games coming up. It could be tomorrow against the Cubs, 91 degrees in St. Louis. Good hitters park, divisional game. They're familiar with him. They've seen him a lot. 183 plate appearances against Waka. So a lot of these guys are familiar with him, and a lot of them have hit him really well. Contreras, Happ, Almora, Schwarber, Rizzo. Rizzo's kind of owned him. So yeah, I don't hate like a contrarian Cub stack here against Waka. I'm sure they'll probably go sub 3% tomorrow going up against Waka on the road here, but extra away at bat. I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but I could see it happening.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think Waka is definitely having a solid year, not to take anything away from him, but the Cubs have hit him well in the past, and they're a team that doesn't strike out a lot. So I'm not going to be interested in playing Waka against them, so why not look at the other side? It is going to be a great hitting environment, very hot and humid. You mentioned Anthony Rizzo, 18 for 40 with 3 home runs off of lifetime, of course, off of Waka. Only 3 strikeouts in 40 at-bats. 44 plate appearances, only 3 strikeouts. So you got to like Rizzo. Contreras is 3 for 8, but 2 home runs, and even Ian Happ, who's 3 for 9, has 2 home runs. So looks like Kyle Schwarber has a home run off the dude. So a lot of these guys, I mean, they see him so much. Chris Bryant is even 9 for 31 with looks like 2 homers as well. Although he's got 10 strikeouts, a little bit more on the strikeout side. But yeah, I don't like, maybe not a full stack because Waka has been good, but I can certainly see taking like Rizzo or maybe pairing like a mini stack with like a Rizzo, Contreras, Schwarber or something like that. And I can definitely see it against Waka. I don't mind it. And like you said, you're going to get a good offense at very low ownership once again, and a pretty good hitting environment. As far as Lester, I don't want to pitch him. I know the Cardinals have been sorry, but I don't know. I don't think I want to pay 3 for Lester against a team that has been a lot better against lefties in general. I do think that some of these guys like Tommy Pham, maybe even Harrison Bader, guys that could potentially steal bases, are worth looking at. Again, another one-off type situation. But I do think that, again, Gayorko, 9 for 22 with 3 homers. So he seems to like Mr. John Lester, so he's worth noting.
Yeah, he's good versus lefties too, so it's like a double whammy thing.
Double whammy, 2 for 1.
Exactly.
It's like BOGO, you know.
Buy one, get one.
Except you gotta pay for them both though. Oh, I just realized that the D-backs are wearing the throwbacks. Nice.
Yeah, I saw those today. I like those.
I forgot they even wore those, man. They completely changed their colors, basically.
Yeah.
Different idea.
Oh, yeah. Complete
makeover.
Completely different. Purple, and those are such a weird combination, but I kind of like them. Like purple and turquoise or whatever that is. Like,
it looked pretty cool when Randy Johnson was wearing it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, he could have worn like pink and whatever, and he would have been sick as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. Tyler Skaggs, the lefty from the Los Angeles Angels, visiting Chris Bassett of the Oakland Athletics. Total here is 8.5. Oakland plus 110 at home. 63 degrees, 68% humidity, 9 mile per hour winds blowing out to center out in Oaktown. What do you got here, man?
Yeah, I think you can take bats against Bassett here. But it is a big ballpark. Like, I talk about it all the time. I feel like a broken record, but on like a 15-game slate, I usually like to find better hitting conditions than in Oakland, like a big ballpark at the Coliseum, 63 degrees, like no wind really at all. Like, I don't know. It's just not a spot that I get too excited for. But I could see a scenario where you take like Trout. He's been red hot. Upton's fine, Valbuena's fine, but outside of that, like, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of interest other than those 3 guys. And then on the other side, Skaggs, I could see where like you play Chris Davis here. He's been really good. Oakland has a couple other guys that have been decent this year against lefties, Pinder and Mark Canha. But like I said, I don't get too excited. The two main guys that I would play here would be Trout and Chris Davis, and kind of just look elsewhere.
Yeah, I totally understand the merit of that. It's a huge slate. It's not small where we have to consider these types of situations. I will say that Oakland definitely has struggled a bit more against lefties this season. The problem is they seem to be kind of heating up. At least Chris Davis is. So you wonder how much upside's actually there for Skaggs. Skaggs is coming off a pretty good game, I think, right? Yeah, against the Twins, another team that struggles against lefties. Yeah, he's coming off a...
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, he went for 30. He threw 112 pitches in that game, Cam.
Oh, really?
112 pitches. Now, he did throw 107 in the game before that, but his pitch count...
That's even worse.
Right. It was 107, then 112, so that could be something to worry about.
And he's usually sitting at like 90 pitches a game.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's a little concerning. I wouldn't be surprised if his velocity were to dip a little bit in this game, but again, the A's just... They've been kind of heating up, and so I think Skaggs is a guy I'm going to have to dig into. I'll profile it. If I like what I see in the profiles, I could consider him a 9-3. I do think there's some upside, but I don't. I am a little bit worried about that pitch count.
This is probably like a flaw of mine, but it's just like a thing where I never play Skaggs, so it's like at 9-3, like
yeah, you're definitely not going to play him.
I just can't do it. Like I get it. He does have upside in the right matchup, but it's just one of those things where like I'll play him and then he'll get fucking beat up, and then I'll be pissed.
And then you'll be like, why did I play this guy? Like I don't even like this guy.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
Exactly.
I know what you mean. And yeah, I think the Angels we can attack Bassett with Upton, Trout, but I'm with you. It's just not screaming at you like, oh, stack me up. Like it's just not like
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Next up, we got Seth Lugo of my New York Mets visiting Zach Godley of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Total here is currently 8. Arizona minus 123 at home. What do you got here?
I mean, dude, it's like the same thing. You can play Godley versus the Mets. They're just bad. I know they hit 2 home runs, but
that's literally
still like that's literally
like
that is all
months.
they've done.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like it's. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I'm trying to pull up some of Godley's game logs quick to try and see what his velocity looks like. I know you've touched on that a couple times, how it's been dropping, or it's dropped since whatever. So let me look that up quick. I'm just looking it up. My computer's kind of slow because I have a bunch of stuff going on. Don't show me the curveball velocity, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like the Mets have been terrible this year, and just especially who hit a homer. Oh my gosh, Xander Bogaerts, I think. Yeah, so it's like a scenario where you can definitely play Godley here, going up against the Mets. Like they've just been so bad. So I think he has a pretty safe floor. And a decent ceiling as well at 8-1. I think he's in play. He has a pretty good swinging strike rate so far in 2018 as well. It looks like it is at 11.2%. So I could see a scenario where he has like a game 20 to 25 points here. I haven't pitched him that much this year. I think the one time I pitched him was on like a 3-game slate against San Francisco, and that blew up in my face. So that sucked, but I could definitely see going back to the well here with Godley. Don't really think I take any of these Mets bats versus him on a big slate. On the other side, I know the Diamondbacks have been hot, but I kind of don't hate like Lugo as a pitcher, so it's enough for me to kind of tone down some of the love for the Arizona bats. So I could take like a one-off here for Arizona, but I don't know if I like love the spot for them against Lugo. I respect him enough to kind of back away from them. 6 innings, 8 Ks, 2 hits against the Yankees his last time out. So, and you've talked about how you like him, right? They're your team, the Mets, and He's pretty good. He looks pretty good to me, so enough for me to stay off some of these bats for Arizona.
Yeah, I mean he's a lot better than Matt Harvey. Him and Giseleman are the two guys that when the main Mets got hurt, those are the two guys the Mets kind of patched in, and they did a pretty good job. And Lugo is capable. He started last year, so in the first game they didn't let him throw too many pitches out there, but I guess after that, his second start they did, and so. I don't know if I want to play him right now against the D-backs because they have been hot. But I will acknowledge his last game against the Yankees was very impressive. He went toe-to-toe with Severino and outscored him DraftKings points-wise. He also got the win. So, got to give him credit there. At 7-1, he's interesting. There's just so many lefties on the D-backs, and the D-backs are starting to heat up. I know today doesn't really look like the case. What's it, 3-2 right now? It's not great, but they definitely look better than they looked before, especially Paul Goldschmidt, some of these other guys. So Lugo's a maybe. Godley is a probably. Like I think he's in play absolutely. I know his velocity's down, all that good stuff, but the Mets are just that bad. It's like I don't love Godley at 8-1. I'm a little concerned about his upside and ceiling right now because on a strikeouts level, and the Mets don't strike out a ton. But at the same time, like I do think he's safe. I mean, you got to think Godley is like one of the safer options on the slate. I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. As far as like getting me like positive points, like you got to think that. So yeah,
I'm sure he'll be really popular in cash tomorrow.
I would think. So yeah, right now I think both pitchers are interesting, for sure. Next up, we got Rick Porcello of the Boston Red Sox visiting James Paxton of the Seattle Mariners. Total here is 7.5. Seattle -150. At home against the big bad Red Sox. 61 degrees, 64% humidity. What you got here, man?
Yeah, wow. How do you walk home run in the MLB? Your Mets just walked home run. But
does not surprise me one bit.
I don't I don't know if I really want to attack Porcello here in this big ballpark, so it's enough for me on a big slate to kind of just cross like them off for the most part. I have a little bit of interest in like Haniger, who's been really hot. But outside of that, like, I don't know. It just doesn't excite me here in Safeco. So I'll just pass on them. Porcello is decent enough too, where I can think he can control the bat and kind of limit the upside for the Mariners here. But this is the spot where I love Paxton at home, 10.7K. Boston versus lefties is not nearly as good as they are versus right-handed pitching. 26% strikeout percentage, like ISO in the 150s-ish. So I versus left-handed pitching this year. So I really like this spot for Paxton. I'm gonna just go there tomorrow. You get a nice discount off of like Morton and Kluber as well. So. He's just my guy too. We've talked about it. Like, there's guys that I never pitch, and there's guys that I pitch every fifth day, and he's one of those guys. So I love him tomorrow, and I will be playing him.
Yeah, I know it's scary to attack the Boston Red Sox with anyone, but if there was ever a time to do it, it's going to be against a lefty, number one, a good lefty at that, and while they're all the way across the country in Seattle. In a big ballpark. So, yeah, I think Paxton so far is probably my favorite SP1. I know it's weird, like, oh, you don't want Kluber against the Twins, but you want Paxton against the Red Sox. Well, the Red Sox have really been bad against lefties. Now, Mookie Betts coming back definitely sucks because him and JD are really the only ones who've hit lefties well this year. But, again, like, all the way across the country, big ballpark, I think Paxton is an above-average pitcher. I think he's very good, and he's got good strikeout stuff. And the Red Sox have shown us that they can strike out against left-handed pitching. So, I love Paxton tomorrow. As far as Porcello, doesn't really do anything for me at 9-1 because I like Paxton, and they're too close in price, and I don't really want to pick on him either. So, Paxton from this game is really the only thing I like. Last game, homie. Derek Holland, the lefty from the San Francisco Giants. Johnny the Freaks, San Francisco Giants, visiting Ross Stripling of Patio Joseph's Los Angeles Dodgers. Total here, 7.5. The Dodgers -220 at home. Ross Stripling, 9-8. Ross Stripling.
Yeah.
9-8.
No, thank you. I know he's had big games, but like if you look at the game logs, it was against The Padres, a nut matchup. The Phillies, a really good matchup. So I just can't play him here. I know the Giants like aren't that scary, but McCutchen is really hot right now. I like Crawford in the spot as well. So there's a couple guys that I could see a scenario where they could like kind of make it annoying for him. Almost 10K. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think I can pitch him in that spot. And the last thing with him is he is a Dodgers pitcher, so you never know what they could do there. He could be cruising through 4 innings and they just pull up. So I'll pass. I'll just ride with my guy Paxton and move on. On the other side here, I do like the Dodgers. They've been really hot. I think you could probably get them at lower ownership again than you could. Yeah, so I don't hate it. Yeah, I like probably Taylor, Turner, Kemp. Puig's fine, but some of these guys I'm interested in would be like the lefty on lefty spot where you could get some of these guys who are really hot in like a contrarian kind of spot. Lefty on lefty for some of these dudes who are red hot, like Bellinger and Muncy. So don't hate it here.
Muncy is the man. Dude is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could pick on Holland. I know he's had success against the Dodgers in the past, but I do think the Dodgers are starting to hit a lot better right now. And so Justin Turner, Matt Kemp definitely stand out as guys I would want. The other guys are okay. Don't think it's a situation where I want to take too many Dodgers, but I do think I want a couple here. Well, actually, I guess we'll see if Matt Kemp. He's not going to get suspended. He didn't throw a punch. He just, that was just like a little thing. Hopefully not. But
yeah, that was stupid, dude. Like the guy Chirinos was like kind of up in the like. Did you see it?
And it's tough because like he wasn't waiting there. Like the ball got thrown there, so like he had to move up there to catch it, and then he just caught it and turned around. And he happened to be in the base path. There wasn't much like that's the problem with the rule. Like how do you fix that? Like it wasn't really either. Like Kemp, traditional baseball standards, what Kemp did was acceptable. That's what you do. If the catcher's going to block the plate, you truck him. That's just
Kemp could have like avoided him and probably just given up on the play, but like he was a dick about it. But
he was a dick about it.
Oh my god! Oh, Ned Rosario!
Ned Rosario.
I have to look at Cruncher. I forgot I have some percent of him too. Holy shit, dude!
Rosario.
Off Archie Bradley. This is a miracle.
But
oh my god!
Yeah. Long story short, I don't think Chirinos was intentionally blocking the plate. I do think Kemp was kind of being.
No, I agree with that.
But I will say this: Kemp is a big dude, man. Like when he actually walked up to Chirinos, like the size difference was crazy. And I'm watching guys trying to hold him back. Like I'm watching Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels like trying to put him in like a full Nelson to keep him back. And it was it just looked like, oh my god, if Kemp really wanted to get through you, he would have no problem. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Did you see that too? Where like it was funny because Bellinger was like the first guy to come out and like kind of try and break him up, and like Chirinos like lost attention from Kemp and like went to like Bellinger and started like trying to throw fists, and Bellinger was like, dude, I'm not here for that.
Like, bro.
Yeah, he's like,
bro.
No, not what I was trying to do. Like, don't try to fight me here. Like, I'm not about that.
Yeah, man. He's like, hey, I just came up here to keep the peace, man.
Yeah, I was just trying to like look cool, but like I'm
tough. I'm not trying to get no business. You got double dong upside, Chirinos. I'm not trying to mess with you, man. You got power, bro. You got double dong power.
Did not get in the fight with that dude.
And then as far as tripling, I don't think I want any Giants. I think at 9.8, he's just a little too expensive for me. But he is very good. And also with Joe Panic back, the Giants really aren't striking out as much. That dude's strikeout rate is ridiculously low. So I think he's okay. But again, I like Paxton. He's like so close to the price of Paxton. Like, what am I getting to take him? I'm not really getting anything for it. So. And that's going to do it for the game by game. I'm going to take this opportunity to remind everybody, if you haven't already, check us out at ystate.com. I don't know what you're waiting for. We're going to try to have a strategy session tomorrow. We're going to try. I won't be available. I have something I have to do that is very important. And we're trying to have Paulie and our backup producer, Steve, do the strategy session. We'll see. I'm hoping that it works, but no promises, no guarantees. We're going to try to do it, though, and we'll announce a time tomorrow at some point. So if we do it, it'll be with Paulie D. We're going to try our best. If we can't make it work, we're going to have to skip it for tomorrow. But either way, get yourself a day pass, $2.50. Come rock with us. If we have the strategy session, you'll get access to that. And if we don't, you still get the Y stream. You still get Cam's cheat sheets. You still get the GPP and Cash Game articles and the expert poll and the access to the chat and everything else. So definitely come check it out. I think we finally have it's a big slate, but as much as I think like the 8-9 game slate is our bread and butter, I think we typically do better in these larger slates than in the smaller ones. Usually somebody ends up doing well. So it's a good slate to come check us out, man. See everything we got. Like I said, $2.50, all it takes, get you in for 1 day of access for MLB content. You come see what it's all about. And if you can't afford $2.50 to try us out as an investment, then you probably shouldn't be playing DFS. All right, so Cam, top three pitchers. Go.
12% Rosario.
12%. I can't even believe he was that high.
That's what I had.
Oh, that's what you had him at. Okay, that makes way more sense.
I thought he was 21. I'm dyslexic. James Paxton for me is the guy tomorrow. My number one pitcher for sure. And then some of these guys are going to be who I'm going to have to look into more, and I'll have that done by tomorrow. But right now, first look, I would probably go Paxton 1. Kind of looking through these guys. Paxton 1, those pitchers from the Baltimore-Miami game are interesting to me. Don't hate Gio in that spot. Yeah, man, it's kind of tough. There's so many pitchers right now to rank 3 of them, but yeah, like Paxton, number 1, Godley, Gio, and maybe Gaussman, or I don't know.
It's tough. No, it is. I guess I would go Paxton number 1 for sure. The question is who would be the SP2, and I think Urena is an option against Baltimore, and then Lugo Godley is interesting. I don't think I mind that so much. Yeah, it's gonna take some digging. We're gonna do some research. This one's gonna be one where the SP2 is gonna require some work. On FanDuel, it's kind of easy, right? You just play Paxton and make the rest work.
Yeah.
On DraftKings, you're gonna have to use a little bit of that skill, find yourself an edge with a second pitcher. Top 3 stacks. What you got?
I should write these down as I'm going through them, so I don't have to look. Indians, Texas, and Colorado.
Same exact for me, man. I like the Indians at home, and my favorite game on the board, and I think everybody's favorite game on the board is going to be the Rockies and Rangers. So, gotta like it.
Yep.
Dog watch. Who's your first pick, brah?
Let's go Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramy, brah. I'll go Nolan Arenado, brah. It's not Coors, brah.
E5.
Sin-Soo Choo, brah. Long day.
You got a long day ahead of you tomorrow, too.
I'm full of long days, yes. My life is all one long day.
Your life's just a huge long day. Evan Gattis.
And I will go with Adam Eaton.
All right. That's kind of off the wall.
A little bit. But I just kind of saw him and was like...
That happens to be...
Yeah. At first I saw Bryce Harper and I was like, Adam Eaton. Yeah, I like Adam Eaton.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's a little more contrarian and out there.
You find the standout and then you pivot. You know what I'm saying? Find and pivot. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's how it's done. And that's going to do it, Cam. Just like that, man. About an hour and 15 minutes and 15 games. It's a lot of...
That was pretty good, actually.
Not bad. Obviously, Cam has been stepping it up huge for me this week, as I do have a pretty busy week, and Cam will be stepping up once again tomorrow. He will be on the. You got to do your cheat sheets, bro, because you do have a couple people out there who really, really enjoy them. Everybody likes them, but there's a couple people who really, really they wait for that, and if you don't put one out, they get mad about it. So, and
oh boy,
they're good. I mean, listen, your cheat sheets are fire. I mean, honestly, it's like, it is what it is. So, unfortunately, it's a gift and a curse. And now you have to understand that if there's ever a situation where you don't get one out, there's going to be people who are disappointed.
That's true.
It's a gift and a curse. It's, it's great that you're good at it, but at the same time, now there's like that pressure, that pressure of like people fiending.
Now it's I have to do like 3-game slate.
Exactly. It's getting real. It's getting real serious. But in all seriousness, Cam, you're killing it with the cheat sheets, man. They're great, and it's a great thing, especially for like, it's good for anybody. Like one of our members has been having success playing, like, basically just using your cheat sheet as a player pool and then generating multiple lineups. And he's been having great success. I mean, he won over $2,000 the other night. And I think like there's so many different ways you can use it. Like if you're in a pinch and you can't research, pull the cheat sheet out. You can build multiple lineups instantly. If you're looking to just like go after Cam's player pool, because obviously like one thing I always tell everybody about Cam is like when Cam tells me something, I know it's not really on the podcast. At first look, it's different. We're not looking at things, but when I call Cam tomorrow and I talk to him about the slate, everything he says to me is researched. Like it's backed up. It's not like just a theory. Like it's something that like, it's real. It's looked up. So and you can kind of get that feeling with the cheat sheets. Same kind of thing. Like it's one of the few products that I would take and play blindly. Like they really have been great, man. So we appreciate you at the YSIG Nation.
Yeah, we had Domingo Germán and Anibal Sanchez were the only two guys pitchers today. We had Goldie in the gold, Glaber in the gold. Who else did we have? Ahmed Rosario was in the gold. Conforto was in the gold. So yeah, if you just go and you go through and play the gold dudes, you should have. Oh my God, Peralta just double donged.
Wow.
No, there goes my first place. Fucking asshole.
He is.
It's probably like 1%
Yeah,
off.
it's a lefty. I think it's Vargas. Absolutely. But yeah, Nation, come check us out. Come check out Cam's cheat sheets. Cham's going to be doing the Y stream tomorrow with Johnny, but obviously, Cam, you realize now that you have to do the cheat sheets too, because you're going to get it one way or another. They'll come after you in the chat.
What? David Peralta was 14% owned.
Wow, no kidding. People must really bet. Wow.
Jesus Christ. All right, come on, Conforto, or someone's got to fucking pick it up.
Got to pick it up. Let's do it. Do it for Cam, and in turn, do it for the nation. With that said, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you were watching on Facebook, give us a like and a share. Support the YSIG Nation. If you're watching us on Twitter or Twitch, give us a follow, give us a retweet, give us a like. And if you're listening on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews, help bump us up those charts. All these things, they really help out. They really mean a lot to us. And it allows us to continue to keep doing these free shows. So do us a favor, help us out, show a little bit of support. That's all we asking for. Cam, anything in closing for tomorrow?
Not much. Looks like it's going to be a good slate, so I'm excited to play tomorrow, and we'll cover the bases tomorrow at 3:30. I think it's or 4:30 or whatever time we're on. I think it's me and Cash.
Yes, that's a good point. Tomorrow is Friday. Cash in DFS on the Washington. It's gonna be Cam and Cash. Quite the combo. I don't think I've ever seen you guys do a show together, like just you two.
Never just us two. I think it's been once with you, me, and him, but it's never been just us two. So that'll be interesting.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I will be watching remotely, but I will be watching. I'm not going to miss that one. So you got a Nation, come rock with us. For KamG333, and 4:30 Central. Cam is in the Central time zone. So those of you who are on the East Coast, it's 5:30. All good. Yeah, Wisco runs our Twitter, and like it happens all the time. Like he'll write out like the time and his time, and like I don't mind if he puts Central, but then he'll always put Eastern because he knows that we're on the East Coast. So he'll be like the Y stream 4:30 Eastern, and I'm like, damn it, Wisco. And I'm just like, damn it, Wisco. Brah. Jake Lamb
starting early.
Solo home run.
Dude. Oh my God, this is getting terrible.
Let's get out of here before it gets worse. For KamG333, for myself, the entire YSIG Nation, as always, good luck.
Dude.